But a large part of the point of using this is that you get access to the WordPress editor. So if I want to edit my home page, you'll see that it opens up in basically a web-based word processor. And it's going to have a few extra buttons that you wouldn't see but basically we can go through and we can, make things bold or italic. And then if we wanted to add a link, we would click this little chain link icon and we would put in the web address. And when we click add link, that would make it a link. Each of these events, each of these meetings is set up in the WordPress system as if it was another blog post in some ways. So if we went in to edit, and you can have events that are not Toastmasters meeting events. You could have, say, an open house event that would also appear on your calendar and that you could also promote on social media in other ways. In fact, you probably promote that more than you'd promote just the agenda page. But if I go in to edit this page, what we're going to see is a little bit different, because this isn't a page of content, photos and text. It's a page of things that people can sign up for. And I've been working on making this easier to work with. So these are placeholders. And actually, until recently, if you went to this page, you would have seen a bunch of code, not programming code exactly, but little placeholder codes for each of these speaking slots or other things. And even though it was a simplified form of coding, other officers who tried to edit the agenda would freak out when they saw, they would make some little typo and it would be messed up. So what we have now is you can go in and just double click on each of these things and you get a little editor. So this is how I would decide that for this particular meeting, maybe because somebody's giving a longer speech, we're only going to have 2 speech slots instead of 3, instead of our usual 3. And if we have 2 speeches, we're also going to have 2 evaluators. And I'll come back to this more a little bit later when I show how to set up a new website. Now we'll notice that there's a prompt up top. So there's actually going to be a series of prompts reminding you to do some setup chores. So it wants me to set up my meeting schedule and roles. And this is where we're going to define a template for our typical meeting and our typical schedule. It doesn't mean we can't vary from that, but it's good to have a starting place. And, we could select that we meet the first and third Monday, or maybe it's every Monday, and put in the time of day. And again, we can go down and customize this list. I showed you how we could alter one that exists, but if we wanted to add an additional role, I would just create a blank line. And there's a couple of special buttons here. One's called Toastmasters role and one's called Agenda Note. So Toastmasters role was where I would add a role that only exists in my club. And Agenda Note would be where we add some kind of stage directions. Okay, so we made those couple of changes. There's also something for on the agenda, there's a sidebar area on the left-hand side. And by default, it has the club mission put in there. But you could also have something like a dues reminder. Or maybe you have something here about the upcoming district conference. So any kind of reminders that you want to post, you can put in this space. Again, I'm going to save changes. And when I do that, what it does is it tries to project out all those dates. So we said we're meeting every Monday. This should show every Monday. I'll actually make an exception here because that's President's Day. I think that's right. And this is the 4th of July. We're not going to meet then. But all these other dates we think we're going to meet. You know, I could go back and change this later if I had to, but I'm going to post this months in advance so that our members who are ambitious and want to sign up months in advance have the opportunity to do so. And eventually I would need to go back and add to this list. Also, if I update the template, it'll give me an option to update these roles. If I go out and view any of these things, we should see our sign up form. Okay, including the custom role that we added. And if we go to see the agenda, if people had signed up for these things, their names would be filled in. We see this little bit that we added to the sidebar. And because we filled in our officers, the officers are also automatically showing up on here. And this usually works pretty well. You can run into issues where if you have a long agenda, maybe it doesn't all fit neatly on one page. As a tactic to be able to neaten things up, I put in this export to Word function. So you can basically take all that content, dump it out to a Word file, and make it pretty. Okay, so from here you could reformat it as you like.